Section 1. The base runner must touch bases in legal order, i.e. first, second, third, and home plate. A. When a base runner must return while the ball is in play, he or she must touch the bases in reverse order. B. When a base runner acquires the right to a base by touching it before being put out, he or she is entitled to hold the base until he or she has legally touched the next base or is forced to vacate it for a succeeding base runner. Section 1. Continued. C. Two base runners must not occupy the same base simultaneously. Note: the runner who first legally occupied the base shall be entitled to it. The other base runner may be put out by being tagged. D. The failure of a preceding runner to touch a base and who is declared out does not affect the status of a succeeding base runner who touches bases in proper order unless two are out. And such third out is the result of a force play. Neither preceding nor following runners shall score. Section 1. Continued. E. When a base runner dislodges a base from its proper position, neither he or she nor succeeding runners in the same series of plays are compelled to follow a base unreasonably out of position. F. A base runner shall not run bases in reverse order, either to confuse the fielders or to make a travesty of the game. Section 2. Base runners are entitled to advance without liability to be put out under the following conditions. A. When forced to vacate a base because the batter was awarded a base on balls, one base. Section 2 continued. B. When a fielder obstructs the base runner from making a base unless the fielder is trying to field a batted ball or has the ball ready to touch the base runner. Note: when obstruction occurs, the umpire shall call or signal obstruction. 1. If a play is being made on the obstructed runner, or if the batter runner is obstructed before he or she touches first base. The ball is dead, and all runners shall advance without liability to be put out to the bases they would have reached in the umpire's judgment, if there had been no obstruction. The obstructed runner shall be awarded at least one base beyond the base he or she had last legally touched before the obstruction. Any preceding runner forced to advance by the award of bases for the penalty for obstruction shall advance without liability to be put out. 2. If no play is being made on the obstructed runner, the play shall proceed until no further action is possible. The umpire shall then call time and impose such penalties, if any, which in his or her judgment will nullify the act of obstruction. 3. When a defensive player fakes a tag, when he or she does not have the ball, obstruction will be called. Repeated violations will result in the player being ejected from the game. Section 2 continued. E. When forced to vacate a base because the batter was hit by a pitched ball, FP, or interfered with by the catcher or a fielder. One base. H. When a fielder intentionally contacts or catches a batted fair ball or a thrown ball with a cap, glove, or any part of his or her uniform while it is detached from its proper place on his or her person. Penalty. The base runner shall be entitled to 3 bases if a batted fair ball, or 2 bases if a thrown ball. In either case, the base runners may advance further at their own risk. If the illegal catch or touch is made on a fair batted ball which, in the umpire's judgment, would have cleared the fence in flight, the runner shall be awarded a home run. Section 2 continued. I. 2 bases when an overthrown ball goes into dead territory. When such a wild throw is the first play by an infielder, the umpire, in awarding such bases, shall be governed by the position of the runners at the time the ball was pitched. In all other cases, the umpire shall be governed by the position of the runners at the time the wild throw left the infielder's or fielder's hand. Note: when awarding bases, the lead runner should be considered prior to other runners. In certain circumstances, it is impossible to award a following runner 2 bases. Refer to points of emphasis. Approved ruling. If all runners, including the batter runner, have advanced at least 1 base when an infielder makes a wild throw on the first play after the pitch, the award shall be governed by the position of the runners when the wild throw left the infielder's hand. Section 2 continued. J. When a batted ball is legally caught on the fly in playable territory and is carried by the fielder unintentionally into dead ball territory, the ball is dead, the batter is out, and all runners advance 1 base beyond the base they occupied at the time of the pitch. If in the judgment of the umpire, The fielder intentionally carries a legally caught ball on the fly into dead ball territory. The ball is dead, the batter is out, and all runners are awarded 2 bases beyond the base they occupied at the time of the pitch. Note: if a player leaves in play territory, catches the ball, then touches or lands in dead ball territory, it shall be a legal catch. Note: this rule also applies in the case of a thrown ball, which is secured by a fielder, and then after the ball is secured, the fielder carries the ball into dead ball territory. Section 3. A player forfeits exemption from liability to be put out when a. If while the ball is in play, he or she fails to touch the base to which he or she was entitled before attempting to make the next base. If the runner put out is batter base runner at first base or any other base runner forced to advance because the batter became a base runner, this out is a force out. b. If after overrunning first base, the batter base runner attempts to continue to second base. Note: the direction the batter runner turns when returning to first base does not in itself constitute an attempt for second base. c. If after dislodging the base, the batter base runner tries to continue to the next base. Section 4. The base runner's advance is limited. a. When a fair batted ball goes over the fence or into the stand on the fly, it shall entitle the batter to a home run unless it passes out of the grounds or into a stand at a distance of less than 250 feet from the home base, in which case the batter and all runners shall be entitled to 2 bases only. The point at which the fence or stand is less than 250 feet from the home base shall be plainly indicated for the umpire's guidance. b. When a batted fair ball bounces or is deflected into dead ball territory, outside the first or third base foul lines, or over, under, or sticks in any obstruction, e.g. field fence, scoreboard, shrubbery, stands, etc., in which case the batter and all runners shall be entitled to advance 2 bases beyond the base they occupied at the time of the pitch. Note: if in the umpire's judgment a fielder intentionally throws, kicks, or carries ball into dead ball territory, the umpire may award as many bases he or she feels the runners would have reached. Section 5. The base runner must return to his or her base under the following circumstances, without liability to be put out. a. When a foul ball is not legally caught and is so declared by the umpire. b. When a legally batted ball is so declared by the umpire. c. When a batter or base runner is called out for interference. Other base runners shall return to the last base which was, in the judgment of the umpire, legally touched by them at the time of interference. d. When there is interference by the plate umpire of his or her clothing with the catcher's attempt to throw. e. When any part of the batter's person is touched by a pitched ball that is swung at and missed. Section 5. Continued. f. When a batter is hit by a pitched ball, unless forced to go to the next base because of the batter becoming a base runner. g. When a coach or a member of the team at bat with intent or design permits a thrown ball to touch his or her person or clothing. h. When the umpire declares a dead ball, unless it is also the 4th ball on the batter and he or she is thereby forced to advance to the next base. Section 6. Batter base runner is out under the following circumstances. a. When after a fair ball is hit, he or she is legally touched with the ball before he or she touches first base. b. When after a fair ball, the ball is held by a fielder touching first base with any part of his or her person before the batter base runner touches first base. c. When a fair or foul ball is legally caught on the fly by a fielder. d. When he or she runs outside the 3-foot line and, in the opinion of the umpire, interferes with the fielder taking the throw at first base. However, he or she may run outside the 3-foot line to avoid a fielder attempting to field a batted ball. e. When running the last 30 feet from home plate to first base, while the ball is being fielded to first base, he or she runs more than 3 feet outside the foul line or runs inside the foul line, and in the opinion of the umpire, interferes with the throw at first base. However, runners may run outside the running lane to avoid a fielder attempting to field a ball. Section 6. Continued. f. When the base runner runs bases in reverse order to confuse the defensive team or to delay the game. This includes the batter base runner moving back toward home plate to avoid or delay a tag by a fielder. Note, Section 6DF. The ball is dead and batter base runner is out. Other base runners must return to the last base legally touched at the time of or before the illegal action. G. The batter runner believing he or she is out or about to be put out, who proceeds to and reaches his or her dugout, is considered to have abandoned his or her effort to proceed to first base and shall be called out. Section 7. The base runner is out under the following circumstances. A. When running to any base, he or she runs more than 3 feet from a direct line between a base and the next one in regular or reverse order to avoid being touched by the ball in the hand of a fielder. B. When, while the ball is in play, he or she is legally touched with the ball in the hand of a fielder while not in contact with the base. C. When, on a force out, a fielder in possession of the ball tags the base to which the base runner is forced to advance before the runner reaches that base. D. When the umpire calls the base runner out for failure to return to touch the base when play is resumed after a suspension of play. Section 7. Continued. E. When a base runner passes a preceding base runner before that runner has been put out. Note, in the above instance the ball is in play and the base runner is out. F. When a base runner leaves his or her base to advance to another base before a batted ball is caught on the fly, providing the ball is returned to a fielder and legally held on that base or legally touches the base runner before the runner can return. A catch is legal if the ball is finally held by any fielder, even though juggled, or held by another fielder before it touches the ground. Runners may leave their bases the instant the first fielder touches the ball. Note, after a fly ball is caught, the base runner must retouch his or her original base before the original base is tagged. Retouch in this rule means to tag up and start having contact with the base after the ball is touched. A runner is not permitted to take a running start from a position behind his base. Section 7. Continued. G. When the base runner fails to touch the intervening base or bases in regular or reverse order and ball is in play and legally held on that base, or the base runner is legally touched while off base. Note, this is an appeal play, and the defensive team loses the privilege of putting the base runner out if the appeal is not made before the next pitch. The ball is in play and the base runner is out. H. When the base runner legally overruns first base, attempts to run to second base before returning to first, and is legally touched while off base. I. When a base runner interferes, intentionally or unintentionally, with a fielder in or out of the base path, attempting to field a batted ball or intentionally interferes with a thrown ball. Section 7. Continued. J. When the base runner is hit by a batted fair ball, which is on or over fair ground, and before it has touched a fielder or past a fielder other than the pitcher. A runner also is out when a fair ball on or over fair ground contacts runner after passing through, or by an infielder other than the pitcher, and the umpire is positive that another infielder had a chance to make a play with the ball had it not come in contact with the runner. Exception: if a runner is touching a base when hit by a batted fair ball, the runner is not out unless runner intentionally interferes with the ball or a fielder making a play. The ball is dead, and batter is awarded first base. Note, if a runner is hit by an infield fly when not touching a base, both the runner and batter are out. K. When a runner intentionally kicks a ball which an infielder has missed. L. When, with a base runner on third base, the batter interferes with a play being made at home plate with less than 2 outs. Section 7. Continued. M. When, in the judgment of the umpire, the coach touches or holds the runner physically to assist him or her in returning to or leaving a base, the ball is dead and the assisted runner is out. N. When the coach near third base runs in the direction of home plate on or near the baseline, while a fielder is attempting to make a play on a batted or thrown ball and thereby draws a throw to home plate, the base runner nearest to home shall be out. O. When one or more members of the offensive team stand or collect at or around a base to which a base runner is advancing, thereby confusing the fielders and adding to the difficulty of making the play. P. When a base runner runs the bases in reverse order, as defined in Rule 7, Section 1F. Note, Sections 1P. The ball is dead, and the base runner is out, no bases may be run unless it is necessitated by the batter becoming base runner. Section 7. Continued. Q. Any base runner who leaves the baseline believing that there is no further play may be declared out if the umpire judges the act of the runner to be considered abandoning his or her effort to run the bases. R. When the coach intentionally interferes with a thrown ball. Note: interference shall be called, and the batter or runner on whom the play is being made shall be declared out. No bases may be run unless necessitated by the batter becoming base runner. S. When the base runner fails to keep in contact with the base to which he or she is entitled until a legally pitched ball has been released by the pitcher. Note: the ball is dead, no pitch is declared, and the base runner is out. When a base runner is legitimately off base, i.e. moving off base after pitch or rounding a base after a hit, the pitcher is obligated to allow sufficient time for the runner to return. Section 7. Continued. T. No base stealing. If a runner advances illegally to the next base, he or she is declared out. If the runner does not touch the next base and is returning to his or her legal base, he or she can be put out if the throw reaches the base first and is held in the possession of a fielder touching the base ahead of the returning runner. U. A runner may advance only on a hit ball that is playable or when forced by a batter being awarded first base, i.e. base on balls, intentional walk, or catcher's interference. Note: 1. After a legal pitch which is not hit, if the return throw to the pitcher results in an overthrow or error, pitcher dropping ball, catcher throwing ball into the dirt, etc., the ball will be declared dead, and the base runners may not advance. 2. After a legal pitch that is not hit, the ball is thrown to any fielder other than the pitcher in a dropped ball or an overthrow of the intended fielder results. The force is removed, and the runner must be tagged. All runners may advance at their own risk and need not retouch. Section 7. Continued. V. Any batter or runner who has just been put out hinders or impedes any following play being made on a runner. Such runner shall be declared out for the interference of his or her teammate. W. If, in the judgment of the umpire, a base runner willfully and deliberately interferes with a batted ball or a fielder in the act of fielding a batted ball with the obvious intent to break up a double play, the ball is dead. The umpire shall call the runner out for interference and also call out the batter runner because of the action of his or her teammate. In no event may bases be run or runs scored because of such action by a runner. Note: a base runner by coming into a base, standing up causes contact with a player attempting a double play. That base runner and the batter runner may be called out. If the umpire deems said action as flagrant, the base runner may also be ejected. X. If a batter runner willfully and deliberately interferes with a batted ball or a fielder in the act of fielding or throwing a batted ball with the obvious intent to break up a double play, the ball is dead. The umpire shall call the batter runner out for interference and shall also call out the runner who has advanced closest to the home plate regardless where the double play might have been possible. In no event shall bases be run because of such interference. Section 7. Continued. Y. The base runner or batter runner is out when he or she does not slide or attempt to avoid the fielder when the fielder who has the ball is waiting to tag the runner. For obstruction, see Rule 7, Section 2b. Section 8. Base runners are not out under the following circumstances. A. When a base runner runs behind the fielder and outside the baselines in order to avoid interfering with a fielder attempting to field the ball in the base path. B. When a base runner does not run in a direct line to the base, providing the fielder in the direct lines does not have the ball in his or her possession. C. When more than one fielder attempts to field a batted ball, and the base runner comes in contact with the one who, in the umpire's judgment, was not entitled to field the ball. D. When a base runner is hit with a fair ball that has passed through an infielder and, in the umpire's judgment, no other fielder has a chance to play the ball. E. When a base runner is touched with the ball not securely held by a fielder. Section 8. Continued. F. When the defensive team does not request the umpire's decision on an appeal play until after the next pitch. G. When the base runner overruns first base after touching it and returns directly to the base. H. When the base runner is not given sufficient time to return to a base he or she had left the base legally. I. A runner who has started to advance cannot be stopped by the pitcher receiving the ball while on the pitching plate, nor by stepping on the plate with the ball in his or her possession. J. When a base runner holds his or her base until a fly ball touches a fielder and then attempts to advance is not out for leaving too soon. See Rule 7, Section 7F. Section 8. Continued. K. When the impact of a runner breaking a base loose from its position, no play can be made on that runner at that base if he or she had reached the base safely. Note: if a base is dislodged from its position during a play, any following runner on the same play shall be considered as touching or occupying the base if, in the umpire's judgment, he or she touches or occupies the point marked by the dislodged bag. If you found this video informative, please like and subscribe to the channel to ensure you receive notifications about future rule explanations. Thank you for watching.